The Magic Paintbrush. Chapter 1. The Poor Artist. In a quiet village nestled between lush green hills, a young boy named Leo lived in a tiny cottage with his grandmother. He had a heart full of dreams but little in his hands. Ever since he was a child, Leo loved to draw. He used sticks to sketch on the ground, charcoal to draw on rocks, and even his fingers to paint on leaves. His talent was undeniable, but he had no proper brush or colors. One evening, after finishing his chores, Leo sat by the river, drawing patterns on the wet sand. A kind old man with a long white beard watched him silently. "You have a gift, my boy," the old man said with a smile. "But why do you not paint on paper?" Leo sighed. "I have no brush, sir, and no money to buy one." The old man reached into his bag and pulled out a beautiful golden paintbrush. "Take this and use it wisely," he said. Then, without another word, he disappeared into the mist. Leo stared in amazement at the brush. It felt warm in his hands, as if it had a life of its own. Chapter 2. The Magic Unfolds. Eager to test his new brush, Leo dipped it into a cup of water and painted a fish on the ground. To his shock, the fish shimmered and leapt to life. It flapped its tail and swam into the river. Leo's eyes widened. Could it be magic? He tried again this time, painting an apple. The apple popped out of the ground, real and juicy. His hands trembled with excitement. That night, Leo painted a loaf of bread and a warm blanket for his grandmother. As soon as he finished, they became real. His grandmother hugged him, tears in her eyes. "This is a gift from the heavens, my child," she whispered. Leo decided to use his brush to help the villagers. He painted food for the hungry, tools for the farmers, and even a bridge over the river, making life easier for everyone. Soon, stories of his magic spread far and wide. Chapter 3. The Greedy King. Not long after, the news of the magic paintbrush reached the ears of King Hector, a cruel and greedy ruler. He sent his soldiers to bring Leo to the palace. "Paint me a mountain of gold," the king demanded. Leo shook his head. "Gold cannot feed the hungry or shelter the poor, your majesty." The king's face turned red with anger. "Then you shall be locked away until you obey me," he thundered. Leo was thrown into a dark prison cell. The guards took his paintbrush, but Leo had hidden a tiny piece of charcoal in his pocket. That night, he used it to draw a small mouse on the prison wall. The mouse came to life, scurried under the door, and stole the key from the sleeping guard. Leo quickly escaped and retrieved his paintbrush. Before leaving, he painted a massive sea around the king's palace, trapping the greedy ruler inside. With no escape, the king was left alone with his gold, while the villagers were finally free from his cruelty. Chapter 4. A Gift to the World. Leo returned to his village as a hero. He continued using his paintbrush to help those in need, never asking for anything in return. He painted schools for children, wells for fresh water, and farms for the people. One day, the same old man who had given him the brush appeared once again. "You have used the gift wisely, Leo," he said. "True magic is not in the brush, but in your kindness and generosity." With that, the old man disappeared, and Leo realized the magic had always been in his heart. Moral of the story: greed leads to downfall, but kindness and selflessness create your magic.